To all the NHS staff, all key workers, and everybody doing their little bits to help others, and especially those in need, thank you so much. I respect the hell out of every single one of you. Keep doing what you're doing, keep strong, keep safe, take care. Out of every song recently, I'm obsessed with this one. Jesus, He Knows Me. Phil Collins, or Genesis. More on that later. As I'm recording this, it's Monday, the 14th of April 2020. This is The Thoughtful Type. My name is Mishak R. Brencher. And I'm the polarising individual. But that's for another time. Guess what I'm going to talk about? You won't believe it. Coronavirus. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. As I'm recording this, it's about 10:30 in the UK. I collected some statistics about 45 minutes ago on my laptop. Basically around 1,990,097 cases are known globally for COVID-19. 125,859 deaths and 466,948 people have actually recovered. Those are big numbers, but they're changing every day. In the UK alone, there's 93,783 cases and 12,107 deaths. And the UK is number 6 in the places hit hardest in the world. USA is number 1. They've got 604,000 cases, 25,200 deaths approximately. Spain's 2nd, Italy's 3rd, France is 4th. Even though Germany has 3,294 deaths compared to the 12,000 in the UK, the cases that they have is more than the UK. That's why they're ahead of us in terms of who's been hit the worst. Germany's got 131,560 cases. But obviously, numbers will keep changing every so often. In terms of also, what's currently happening in hospitals, I understand 1,340,525 people are in a mild condition. 50,950 approximately are in a critical condition. Well, put my hands together, cross my fingers for these people, I really do. It's a hard time for everybody. In terms of realistically, how long are we looking at in terms of hearing about coronavirus, the idea of coronavirus going about? There's talk about potentially it could, things could ease off potentially in the summer. I heard rumours about things. The lockdown could be, in the UK, the lockdown could be eased off or even just be taken away, get rid of. But for me, it would have to do with how many, complete cases there are in terms of who's been tested, who's not been tested. Would it realistically be safe to, ease a lockdown, say if certain number of people have not been tested, say for example if the numbers were to drop, is it safe to drop, to ease the lockdown? Is it? I'm not sure. It'd be ideal. It's hard. It's this, obviously, when you got minimal things to do for a lockdown, it's very hard to deal with. In a really, really bizarre way, the UK's lockdown is not actually as, it's not, any lockdown is not ideal, but in terms of we're still able to go out shopping for essentials, just food, medicine, bit of exercise, and then back home. Or people who need to go to work, you have to go to work. There's a lot of things we don't actually declare when we're out and about. Obviously, if we randomly might get stopped by the police, or they might ask us where you off to. Obviously, if it looks a bit suspicious or if they're unsure about anything, then we will probably get questioned about it. There's other countries in the world who they have to declare every single movement, like wherever they go. It's documented at what time you go out, at what time you're expected to come back, where exactly are you going, and they're tracked. So there's no chance of them going off somewhere they've not declared. Luckily, we don't have that here in the UK. In China, I believe they had a sensor. They held something up towards somebody's forehead. If your temperature was above a certain amount, say if it was like above 38 degrees, you're automatically getting put in quarantine. There's no discussion about it whatsoever. Automatically, you are staying indoors, literally. Even if it was the same thing below, if it was below, that wasn't us. That was a red flag. You're going back home. But here, there's not. There's certain amount of there's a certain number of tests being carried out, but it hasn't matched what they intended. I heard they were looking to do 10,000 tests a week. It's like I couldn't imagine it's gone anywhere near that. But I think the longer the process involves getting people tested to declare to establish who has got it, who hasn't got it, that'll probably delay how long we're on lockdown. That'll delay how long, how many cases of coronavirus we're going to have for, an extended period going forward. As much as I hate the idea of it, because I want it to fizzle out like everyone else does, but I think realistically we will still hear about coronavirus cases come the end of this year, even potentially going into next year. As much as I hate the idea of it, I think we're potentially facing that. The last pandemic on this scale of the First World War, the Spanish flu, between January 1918 to December 1920, that's quite a long period, that. And here, obviously since the 31st of December, China declared pneumonia cases to the World Health Organization, to today, it's still a considerable amount of months. But this Spanish flu, it's spanned nearly 3 years. Oof. And oof. I pray that doesn't happen here. I pray that we're not faced with that. But I think there's loads of tests being carried out right now. It's definitely being pushed by every single nation around the world to get this brought under control, broken down, stop it spreading, get people treated, introduce people back into society, like that, to their day-to-day lives, your usual routine. That'd be nice. As far as, but it'll be down to how everybody's body fights it. Because realistically, they're not going to have a vaccine, and this is it's another worrying thing as well in terms of how long potentially, realistically, we're waiting for a vaccine, but unless it breaks down itself or everyone's immune system eventually is able to, who hasn't contracted it is able to fight it off and not continue to spread. It's the only drastic case of this ever coming under control, but if not, it's also depending on how many tests are being carried out, so we can separate who hasn't got it to be reintegrated into society, and those who haven't got it to carry on with their treatment and their quarantine. As far as realistic treatment, but we are potentially looking at a year to 18 months for a vaccine to be produced. Usually a vaccine, this is according to Worldometers forum site, there's usually 5 phases to the testing. First phase is to get a small number of people to get their immune system tested. It's just a general procedure. That first stage usually takes between 1 to 2 years. With a COVID-19, it'll be we'll try and get that procedure done in a few months. After that, there's a random placebo-controlled study done with hundreds of people, and then thousands of people afterwards, once they've established records. testing hundreds of people for a controlled study, that can end up taking 2 to 3 years, and for thousands of people it could be like 2 to 4 years. It's a lengthy time. But with COVID-19, they'll try and fast track this between 8 months to a year. Then there's a review of how things have gone, and a general study a review would probably take 1 to 2 years. But with the COVID-19, they're looking to just basically round this off in a few months to basically reduce the investigation time and then get it out to people when they finally have a post-approval study to monitor its effectiveness, how it works on people. A year to 18 months, as much as it sounds like a really, really long time, they're actually fast tracking the vaccine. There's like rumors of, in Cuba, they have this medicine they've been using called interferon alpha 2b. Because their death rate in Cuba's only 21. They've had 766 cases, unlike what's happening in Europe. Their first case of COVID-19 was the 11th of March. It's not bad. It's really, obviously, any death is sad, but it is actually not bad going at all, considering how many weeks it's been since the outbreak there. It's a very low number. Obviously, numbers may change generally though, but they have something there that they're using, but other places in the world are still under the impression there is nothing to actually treat this. There's literally hundreds of tests being carried out to create a vaccine, even though there's potentially something ready to be distributed from Cuba. It's a grey area if this is actual legitimate news or not. Obviously, we'll find out going forward, but there is a case there. In terms of the outlook and what is generally happening around the world, everyone's economy is struggling. Even though everywhere has been affected in the world, there's potentially one place in a bizarre way in which they may come out like strong, they have experienced hardship from this, but they can rebound from this no problem because they have so many billions and trillions behind their economy. That's China. An everyday resident in China, when there's been cases of flus that have broke out there in the past, they're not that well informed about it because it's a communist country. So there'll be things that'll be kept behind closed doors, and this is the same thing that's happened. I fear in the future that they may be like prejudice to like Chinese nationals, but subliminally they're potentially going to become a very powerful force economically, with everyone else is like struggling around the world. You know, a lot of places in the world in dire straits. In some bizarre way, make theirs stronger. Again, we'll have to see going forward what happens with all of this. I will probably make another episode in the next few weeks to actually discuss if there's been any changes in any figures. Hopefully next time when I'm talking about this subject, a lot of things will have improved, but it's very hard to say, and I don't think a lot's going to change in the next few weeks. But until next time, thank you for listening. This is the Thoughtful Type, and I'll see you soon. Everybody, please take care, stay safe, only go out when you need to. Take good care of yourself. You know what I realised? Throughout that recording, I didn't even go into detail why I've been obsessed with this song, Jesus He Knows Me, by Genesis. Basically, I've made a very dark connection to the track. Basically, the current situation with COVID-19, things have been dressed down. We've been made to feel quite relaxed about the situation for the longest time, even though numbers of cases have changed, throughout the past, several months, like throughout the world. I think there's a lot of withheld information out there that we're not aware of. So this has been my reason for why I've been obsessed with this song. Anyway, it's just a thought. Until next time, everybody, take care. Please stay safe.